Paul Krugman, okay, he was asked about Bitcoin 12 years ago when it was about $7, okay, and he dismissed it and said that there's no way it could sustain as a currency. There's no way it's going to go bye-bye. It's going to go bankrupt, right? And he dismissed it. Well, after dismissing it, it went up 366,000%, okay? And this is at our current level, about 26,000. If we measure it to like 70,000, I mean, it's like 1,000,000%, okay? So this is the reason why. If you're a Bitcoiner, if you're an investor, you want to hold for long haul, right? You don't want to hold just for short-term gains. And because you're going to be missing out. So many people get scared out, get fudded out for whatever reason, okay? And they're like, enough is enough. I need to get out. I'm not going to be in it, right? But more often than not, those people get hurt because when things come back, they come back really, really fast. And some of the fuddish things that people thought was going to happen didn't happen, right? And then they end up losing out completely, or they have to buy in at a higher price, which will cost them a lot of money, right? So despite everything that's going on, right, and it does seem a little fuddish right now, I am still as bullish as ever because I know that Bitcoin has not changed. Fundamentally, it has not changed. In fact, I always argue that the fundamentals of Bitcoin has never, ever been stronger. Today is also an anniversary. The 2-year anniversary of El Salvador adopting and embracing Bitcoin and making it legal tender. And has it done wonders for El Salvador? Well, one can argue that. Since then, tourism is up. Their volcano mining and their bonds is live. The country has bought over 2,500 Bitcoins. They still make headline news. So, yeah, I would say that's a win, right? Obviously, not every citizen of El Salvador and every business is fully, embracing Bitcoin, but it's definitely a good start. And it's a good, I guess, model for other countries to mimic. Because like right now, you have a lot of other countries in South America, like Argentina, for example, that are really struggling. They're really struggling. The citizens are struggling. The banks are struggling, right? So they need a better system. And that's why they're looking at Bitcoin. They're looking at El Salvador. Obviously, Argentina is a much bigger country, but they're looking at a lot of the same things. How do we incorporate Bitcoin and utilize it, right, for our benefit? So pretty good. And as time goes on, we're going to get more and more countries embracing Bitcoin, right? So again, short term, there might be some scariness. Some little scariness, some FUD out there, but long term, man, I'm as bullish as ever. So first and foremost, this 200 EMA line, this has been always seen as like the ultimate support for Bitcoin. Again, this is measured over years, okay? You can see all the way back to 2015. A lot of stuff. A lot of years and a lot of up and downs. That's what I meant to say. But you can see periodically Bitcoin falls below, right? Those are considered the capitulation periods, like the really nasty, scary periods, right? 2019, we saw Bitcoin stay under for a while. 2010, temporarily, or 2020, I should say. And 2022 was actually the longest drawdown below that EMA 200. But we did come back up, right? And now we're retesting it once again. But you can see going back, you don't really see that retest much. Last time we saw a couple retouches was back in 2015, right? So this has some people scared that maybe Bitcoin falls below the 200 EMA once again, which would be considered bearish, right? But on the other hand, if it does, you could see it as a generational buying opportunity, because every time we come above and then we get into the new bull run, of course, we're making a higher high and higher low, right? But I think some people are looking at this, wondering if we're going to go lower. And there are some TA analysts that are thinking that, yeah, we may drop down. We may drop down, according to Stock Money Lizards, who traditionally is very bullish. Even they posted this, saying that in September, we may see something like this where Bitcoin goes down, right? Maybe to the 23 or 24 level in September, and then in October, it'll come right back up to 30, 31,000 and continue on from there, right? So I'm noticing some even some of the TA analysts out there, actually not some, a lot of TA analysts out there thinking that it's going to be pretty rough in September. So does this mean that we should all just sell in September and go away? No, it does not mean that at all. Grayscale is urging the SEC to approve their ETF request. This could be right around the corner. Grayscale already won their lawsuit against the SEC. So what other reason does the SEC have to keep denying them, right? So we may see the very first Bitcoin spot ETF right around the corner, maybe even end of this month, maybe next month, maybe end of the year, right? The SEC can only push it back so far. Okay, so this is also monumental. We've never, ever had a spot Bitcoin ETF before in the United States, ever. Okay, and you know what happened? Let's say, look at this. I know my camera's kind of cutting it off here, but look at what happened with gold. Look at what happened in gold when its spot ETF got approved. Back in 2004, 2005. That's what happened shortly afterwards, right? So if we get the very first Bitcoin spot ETF, and we know there's like 7 applicants, okay? So are we going to see something similar? It's very, very likely. Why? Because now you have trillions on the sideline from these big institutions that could be entering into the space and getting Bitcoin or something equivalent that mimics Bitcoin's price movement, right? But the difference between spot ETF and futures ETF is the fact that these fund companies actually have to buy and hold Bitcoin. So the trillions that are coming in is going to cause massive amount of buying, right? So there's that too. You can't ignore this. I've been talking about it for a while, but it's just a matter of time before we get one. And I think it's still, SEC is going to delay this until probably the beginning of 2024, but who knows? Number of addresses holding over 1 Bitcoin. You could see there are periods where it dips a little bit. It does dip a little bit. But we haven't seen a dip since 2021. And especially starting from 2023, it's been rising and rising and rising at a more ferocious level. We have never had this many addresses hold at least 1 Bitcoin. That means the number of the whole coiners out there have increased by this much, right? Going all the way back to 2011 till now, right? So again, part of the growing fundamentals of Bitcoin, the hash rate, everything that you can measure is going upwards, either going upwards or at an all-time high already. So think about that, okay? And outside fundamentals, of course, we have some major catalysts that's right around the corner, and we don't know when they're going to strike.